Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dakota's Political Circle. And today I wanted to talk about how um, the Mexico and Canada have officially caved to the United States on the tariff issue. And it's really, really interesting how this happened because so many Democrats were criticizing Trump for the tariffs. They were saying that the tariffs would drive up costs for, U.S. citizens and stuff, that it wouldn't be effective whatsoever. And then, right when the tariffs went into effect, after the first day, Mexico and Canada decided to cave and tell Trump that they'll basically do anything that they want him to do, that basically Trump wants them to do when it comes to immigration and like drug cartels and stuff like that. So basically, Mexico and Canada made a deal with Trump. It was first Mexico, and then Canada came I think a couple hours later. And I'll tell you what the deals were, and also just to tell you, tariffs work. It just goes to show that no matter what, tariffs do work. Now, I think with certain countries, maybe if you count like China and I wouldn't say Russia, but I'd probably say China is probably the only other country that I would say tariffs don't work too well entirely. Mainly because we're basically at the same level, money wise and power wise, so it makes sense why tariffs won't work on China. But it does make sense to try to make like a better trade deal, I guess. Try to force better deals, so you can get that tariff off of you. But when it comes to countries like Canada, Mexico, many others that Trump it might be enforcing a tariff on, like the EU, he might enforce it on the EU. So there are significant advantages to the U.S. having tariffs, and I don't think Democrats understand that. Which they always say it will drive up costs for consumers, which it can, but it's to make a point. It's more or less to make a point. And that point exactly literally just came by when it came to Mexico and Canada, even though literally everyone was thinking, oh, this is going to hurt us really bad. Well, it didn't end up hurting us whatsoever. It actually gave us a bunch of leverage. And just to show you right here exactly what happened. So here's what happened. So the Mexican president actually talked to Trump, and Trump's going to be pausing tariff for a month. So he'll be pausing it for a month. This isn't indefinitely. This is more or less like Trump's leveraging it, just like I said, Trump's leveraging these tariffs as something to get his way. So more or less, if Mexico or Canada doesn't do exactly what Trump says, he can bring them back immediately. So that's why they're paused for a month when it comes to Mexico. And then they're also going to reinforce U.S. border with 10,000 troops, which is really good. That's a good thing. And I actually looked it up. I know a lot of Dems are saying, "Oh, this was already a deal. We already said about the 10,000. They already said about they were going to do 10,000 troops and stuff like that." Actually, I looked it up, and Mexico does have troops stationed. I believe it's about 15,000 or so, but those aren't permanent. Those aren't permanently stationed. So the 10,000 troops they'll be putting on top of the 15,000, these specific ones will be permanent. So the 10,000 that are being put to the U.S. border because of this deal are going to be permanent on the Mexican border. And the 15,000, they're not going to be permanent, but they'll still be there. So that's a lot of people. That's about like 25,000 troops regularly at the Mexico border. So that's a really good thing to be able to see. And then also the last thing, the U.S. will crack down. The U.S. will crack down on firearm trafficking in Mexico. So Mexico kind of wanted to deal with it. The U.S. will crack down on firearm trafficking, so there's no firearm trafficking as well in Mexico, so that's a good thing. And let me show you the Canada deal. So that was Mexico's deal. Canada's is more significant, so let me show you exactly what they said. So Canada and Trudeau announced a $1.3 billion border investment after Trump's tariff plan. So Canada is significantly giving up their end of the bargain, so they're definitely doing it. So the first thing is a fentanyl seizure. So a fentanyl seizure will be added, which is very significant. Like, think about it as Trump has a border seizure, which obviously Ton Homan, he's doing an amazing job. So basically a fentanyl seizure will be someone that basically looks at the traffic for fentanyl, gets everything under control when it comes to that. So this is significant to see, especially with a country like Canada doing it. And then designating cartels as terrorists. So that's really significant. That's only something probably I believe the United States has done. So seeing something like that for Canada of all countries, just, bend the knee to Trump to actually put that up there, that's actually really significant to see. Then ensuring 24/7 eyes on the border. I think this one's significant, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a significance because not as many, trafficking goes through Canada as much. But it is still significant to do because there is still crime and actual drugs going from the United States and Canada because it's less guarded, so it makes a lot of sense. And then launching a U.S.-Canada strike force against organized crime. So that's also very, very big. And then new intel directive on organized crime and fentanyl worth over $200 million. And then also tariffs will be paused for 30 days just like Mexico's. So basically, Canada is significantly putting up their end of the bargain here. Probably because it hurts Canada significantly more than Mexico, which is very odd to say. It's probably because, Canada has more significant trade with us compared to Mexico, but Mexico is still a big partner to us. But it is really interesting to see this. So Canada really put up a big portion of a bargain when it came to the tariff plan. So I'm really glad they put it together. I kind of wish Mexico did a little bit more. But I do think it's significant for a country like Mexico because they are really corrupt and such. When it comes to Canada, they're not really corrupt, but it's more or less them, bending the knee. So it is nice to see that tariffs are finally working when it comes to it. And even though the Dems are all saying tariffs don't work, they hurt relations, all sorts of this stuff. Well, when you have a president like President Trump, it goes to show that having force when it comes to having the most powerful country in the world is definitely something to bargain for, and not, let people take you not lightly. And then the next thing, other than talking about this stuff, I also wanted to bring up this with you guys. So this is just recent news that just came out recently. So Greenland's Prime Minister, I can't say his name, Jetty, has proposed a general election on March 11th, with independence from Denmark and U.S. relations as a top issue. So this is actually really, really significant. So I'm not sure if it's been, it's actually going to happen on March 11th yet. It's just proposed so far. But when it does actually get significantly put in, it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes. Because I know Greenland specifically wants to be independent. No matter what, I think they would vote for independence. It's the portion about U.S. relations that's a little bit iffy. Because I'm not exactly sure how they would feel about that. Now, I know Greenland's prime minister is kind of on board when it comes to, the U.S. taking it in as a territory. The Greenland people itself, I'm really not too sure about. But I do know they want independence from Denmark. So no matter what, I do think if this does go through, if it does end up happening, I do think Denmark will definitely. I do think they will definitely want independence from Denmark. But I do think they will. I know they can't significantly, fend for themselves. That's the reason I think they're going to make a deal with the U.S. Mainly because they need someone to actually help them with, actually living there. Because they were very dependent on Denmark. They just didn't like being a part of Denmark. So we might actually make a cooperative agreement when it comes to Greenland, and that would actually be really interesting to see. And then the next thing I want to talk about, the last thing here. So more of Trump's cabinet has been confirmed. Not too many major ones, other than obviously the Attorney General. But I just really wanted to talk about them just to talk about them with you guys. And I think I talked about Doug Burgum before. I can bring it up again if I didn't. But Doug Burgum did get confirmed by a significant amount, 78-17. Every Republican voted for him. And then when it comes to the Dems, several Dems actually ended up supporting him. Many Dems here. What's interesting, though, is I think John Fetterman abstained. Yeah, John Fetterman abstained, which is actually really interesting here. I'm kind of surprised he did. But the major one here, Christopher Wright, which he was for Secretary of Energy, I gave him an A+ on my, video I did. So he's a really, really great one. I'm really happy he actually ended up being Secretary of Energy. And I think he's going to do really, really great. And he got a 58-37. Not, significant, but I think it's a little bit significant since 7 Dems voted for him, which is interesting. Christopher Wright is very, very you know, pro-oil, pro-gas, stuff like that. So I am kind of surprised a little bit of the Dems actually ended up voting for him, but it is really nice to see. Now, 2 Republicans did abstain, just to show you here. It was Lindsey Graham and Cindy Hyde, which is, I know Lindsey Graham's a really weird Republican. He sounds like a rhino most of the time, but then he'll vote in favor of the opposite of what he says just because he's worried about getting primaried. So he's a very odd one. Now with the Dems, it's interesting because the only one that abstained was John Fetterman. I'm kind of surprised he didn't vote for it. I guess he's just, you know, very anti, like, pro-gas, basically everything, you know, environmentally friendly he loves. But here's some Dems that actually supported him. Some were interesting here, like Ruben Gallego. You got some others. You got New Mexico's senators, so that's really interesting. And then to bring up the last one, I think this is the last one. Yeah, actually, no, there's one more after this. Doug Collins also went in. So there's Pam Bondi. This is actually a major one. This is probably the biggest ones we needed because, you know, the Attorney General is one of the top. It might be the top, but it's one of the top cabinet positions that basically do a lot of stuff in the cabinet. So seeing her get through, even though it was I wouldn't say a slim margin, but it's more slim than you'd expect. Like 52 to 52 Republicans and 1 abstained, which the one that did abstain was Lindsey Graham, and also John Fetterman did not vote for Pamela Bondi, just to let you know. He did not vote for her, but he did abstain, so it helped out Republicans in the long run. But Lindsey Graham, even though, I don't know, he's just very odd. He just decided to abstain in this. But I do think Pam Bondi is qualified. I didn't give her an A+ in my video. I think I gave her like a B+. I really wanted, you know, Matt Gaetz. He was my A+. I do think she's a little bit establishment, but I think she's less establishment than the people that Trump have picked in the past. I think she's more pro-Trump. She's just more, you know, by the book is what I would call her. And then the last one here, not significant, but just to talk about it anyway, since it's cabinet positions. Doug Collins of Georgia is now Secretary of State. He got a significant amount of Republicans. He actually got a significant amount of Dems as well. So that's also very interesting to see here. So he got every single Republican, and he got 22 Democrats, including John Fetterman. And some others in here that were interesting. You know, you got Kristen Gillibrand, you got Tim Kaine. You got Amy Klobuchar, and you even got Adam Schiff. That's kind of surprising. You got Adam Schiff in here. Well, but Doug Collins was qualified. He was qualified for the role. I'm really glad he got it. He was a significant one that we really needed for veterans. So I am really glad he passed. He got passed. So the video I'll actually be making when it comes to nominations next will probably be the FBI director. And then also, I think Tulsi Gabbard's and RFK Jr.'s. I'm not sure if they're going to be voted on the same day, but the day they do get voted on, like on the Senate floor, I would definitely be making a video on it. I'm assuming RFK Jr. and Tulsi will be voted on in the same day, but I'm not too sure about like Kash Patel for the FBI director, because I'm not sure when FBI director gets voted in because it's not a part of the cabinet, so I can't really find anything on it. But I want to let you guys know that I will be making a video on that eventually. But yeah, that's basically what this video is about. I will be having a video in a couple of days as well. I can't remember what it's about, but I'll have a video out there as well. This video was supposed to come out a couple days ago. I've just been very busy, so I haven't been able to post it. But I really want to talk to you guys about it because it was a really significant thing that ended up happening. So I know you guys would really, really want to hear about it. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.